decriminalize adultery, right? Why did this thing come in your head that adultery should not be considered a crime in a country which is very difficult or can get very difficult when issues like these come up?
Now, when the court held that Section 497 of the then IPC was unconstitutional, we didn't therefore say that we are encouraging adultery. Not at all.
Of course not.
We didn't make a societal value judgment that we were accepting of relationships outside marriage. But what the provision was is very interesting. Where a woman who is, I'll just give you an example, where a woman who is married enters into a relationship outside her marriage with another man, the offense of adultery was committed by whom? That man with whom she was in an extramarital relationship. The offense could be condoned if her husband condoned the act of adultery. The woman was never guilty of the offense, only the man was guilty of the offense. Now, look at the problem with the situation. By saying that if the husband of the woman condoned the adulterous relationship, there would be no offense. That meant that the woman is treated virtually like a commodity. She has no autonomy. She is not recognized to have any agency. She is treated as if she is the property of her husband. If her husband accepts her relationship, then there is no adultery. So we said this is fundamentally anachronistic. This is fundamentally contrary to constitutional values. Second, the man was guilty of adultery and the woman was never guilty of adultery. In my father's judgment, in a case called Saumitri Vishnu in 1983, my father, he was not speaking as a sole member of the bench. It was, it was a bench of other judges as well. They said the reason why the woman is not guilty of the offense under Section 497 of Macaulay's 1860 Penal Code is because in a relationship, it's only the man who is the seducer and never the woman. So we said that, this is unacceptable both in terms of factual logic as well as constitutional logic.
Yeah.
That is again denying the woman a sense of agency in a relationship. So we struck down the provision. By striking down the provision, let's be very clear. The court was not condoning in that sense or accepting a relationship outside marriage, but saying that the basis of this law was constitutionally invalid.
Got it. There is one, every time we talk about men and women, there's one question which always comes up, which is marital rape. Why marital rape is not a crime?
Marital rape has to be a crime. It is not a crime by virtue of the exception in our penal laws. If a husband murders his wife, he is guilty of murder, as in the case of, say, bride burning for dowry. If a husband assaults his wife and causes grievous hurt, fractures her leg, or breaks her neck, he is guilty of an offense. But if a husband subjects a wife to involuntary sex, rapes her, marital rape is not a crime in India. The Supreme Court only said that, if the woman is a minor, that would constitute rape. But otherwise, and I feel this is one of those provisions of our law which is hugely, hugely problematic. A woman who enters upon marriage, कोई भी और जब शादी जब होती है, she does not accept to being subjected to involuntary sex. And I think marital rape, that exception in our law has to be struck down. Now, let me deal with the other viewpoint. Will this lead to the breakdown of marriage? No. Will every wife who has been subjected to an act of sexual intercourse when she was not exactly willing, make a complaint of rape against her husband. Most of these cases are cases where there is repeated, prolonged domestic violence against the woman. A woman would not go and file a criminal complaint unless she's driven to it. And to say in India today, look at the advancement which is being made in terms of women's education, in terms of the status of women across society. But yet we accept this, that if a woman has agreed to marriage, she allows for her body to be controlled by her husband. That's what it basically means. I think that provision has to go.
Yeah, it's sad that we don't have a provision at this point.
Yeah, that provision which allows for an exception has to be struck down as unconstitutional. That is when we would really say that, well, we have true equality, at least in the context of marriage.